Hey, what's going on, guys? Bringing another Black Ops Cold War clip today, video today. So this is a sweet sequence. As I run upstairs, I don't normally be able to play this eyes wide open. I'm playing upstairs. I hear the guy start shooting. I drop to my knees in the middle of fighting two guys in a gunfight to avoid the Betty and get both of them. Absolutely ridiculous. So I can't quite normally play that well, but as I was playing this, I was doing well, to say the least, and I was doing well. So I'm going to show you my stats real quick. You can see my gun stats here. I really only have used the two guns, 1.55 kill death and less than a 1.10 win-loss. So if you look there in the upper right corner, that is a completely whacked out kill-death ratio and win-loss ratio. 1.73 in team deathmatch is pretty respectable, and to have a 1.17 win-loss with that kind of kill-death is pretty unbelievable. And I don't leave games, as in never. I've done it, I think, twice on this since I've been playing this game. Yeah, I think twice, maybe. So I don't do that. So none of those are losses that I got just from leaving the game. They're all losses I got from literally playing the game to the end and getting a loss. So again, this footage is looking washed out. I understand that. There's really nothing I can do about fixing that until they kind of update the game DVR, because there's not even any. I mean, I suppose since technically the game's only running at 1440p on the Series X, that I could run it through an Elgato capture card, a 4K 60 Pro. I could run it through there, since that bandwidth is capable of doing 1440p 120. In theory, I could be able to get it through there, but for now, this is the best I can do. I'm just kind of at the mercy of the game DVR at this moment. So, yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is the skill-based matchmaking that's going on in this game. Just sort of my general impressions of the game overall, and what I think of it. It's obviously been a while since I uploaded a video. I did move, so that kind of took up all my time. The last video I put up was right around the time when I was moving, and then I was basically living out of a couple of boxes for about a week or 10 days while I cleaned my old place, and then I finally unpacked here, and it's just been, yeah, I just haven't gotten around to making any videos, and I've just been trying to relax and not do too much, because that just, that puts, as you guys know, those of you that stay busy 100% of the time, like, you don't enjoy that. No one enjoys being busy 100+ hours a week, between work and other stuff they're forced to do. You have to have some time to yourself. So anyway, I have played I played a little bit. I played a little bit before I moved, and then after I moved, I haven't really played as much first couple weeks, but the last about 10 days I've actually played a lot more of this game, and I've really been, this is the most Call of Duty I've played for a long time, maybe about like a year or so. Maybe even 8 months or something, 8 months to a year, when I was playing Blackout, and so it's been really satisfying to play. And so I have some opinions about this game and just sort of how it's been going. And I actually wasn't even going to buy Call of Duty this year. I feel like, and some of you may feel this way with other products that are out there, but I feel like I've just been completely ripped off for several years in a row. I feel like I have not gotten my money's worth, and it's been, as far as what I was looking for out of it. I guess, last year I had Modern Warfare, obviously, and that was a pretty good game. Visually ridiculous looking game, absolutely stunning. And then, during quarantine, I went through and played through the whole campaign and got all those achievements and stuff, so I got that 1,000 gamer score out of it. And that was nice. So I suppose in that respect, I got about 50 hours out of the game, 50 to 75 hours, and that's, that's solid. That's enough to make it worth it. But, when we're talking about me anticipating playing, 200-300 hours of a game in its life cycle, that's not, I haven't done that for a while. And the last one I did was Black Ops 4, so I guess that would have been 2 years ago, right, is when it launched. And I played a lot of zombies of that, and around this time, kind of right before Christmas or right after Christmas, I got the 0.03% achievement for, maxing out all the guns and zombies, which took me an insane amount of hours. It took me like 150 hours maybe, or something like that, ridiculous. Just going for that achievement, at least 100+ hours going just for that achievement. But this game, you know what? It's been fun, and they have the Nuketown 24/7 playlist in here, which has really kind of made it a little bit more fun because there's really not very many maps. Now the gameplay you're looking at is, I believe it's right after the newest update, the season 1, because I think my levels reset. But what you're going to see is you see these 2 team death matches. The first one's, this one's a 3.0 plus kill death game, and we, as you can see, we're only up by 9, so it's a close game. So, obviously a 3.0 is going to impact the game quite a bit. And then the next game is, this one was 1,000 score per minute. This was a 999 score per minute team death match. And then the next team death match I played was 1,157 score team death match. And then the next game I played after that was a domination that was unbelievable. So these 3 games I played in the course of about 45 minutes, and this was after the Season 1 update. So, essentially what's been going on with this game, if you're following this game, you know, but a lot of noise has been made about the skill-based matchmaking, which is basically become sort of the hot button issue right now. It's just the thing that people are talking about is the skill-based matchmaking, SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. And it's been, so 3.14, and 22-7, number 1 on the team. We only won by 13. So, while I had some other guys on my team who did well, and again, I'm just looking at my stats here. So you see a 1.07, a win-loss ratio, 1.55 kill-death ratio, about a 440 score per minute, and that's pretty much only because I've been playing on Nuketown. But look at those games right there. Look at those. So team deathmatch is better. You see the higher kill death and the higher win loss. Look at those scores though. 1064, 998, 1164. Like, those are some high score per minutes. And so the skill-based matchmaking has really just kind of, and look, again, the win loss is so low, a 1.25 win loss. There's a correlation between kill death and win loss in a team deathmatch based on your score per minute, and it's so far off, it's unbelievable. And so that's what we're going to talk about, skill-based matchmaking, which has been the issue that everybody's been talking about, and something that they added to Call of Duty a couple years ago. I haven't really played the multiplayer as consistently or followed content for a couple years, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't in Black Ops 4, but I could be wrong on that. I pretty much only played Blackout in there, and I played the zombies for the first 150, and then all Blackout after that. But it's something that they added that is really... It completely undermines every single thing that Call of Duty is. So, it's the worst thing they've ever done to Call of Duty, and I hesitate to say this because, I just hesitate to say it, but it's worse than the loot boxes and all the downloadable content and stuff that they've been adding. It's worse than that, and that's because it actually affects the core gameplay. Stuff like that. Even if it's a gun that's like, kind of better than the other ones, it doesn't 100% fully affect gameplay. Skill-based matchmaking does. It completely affects gameplay. And I get where they're trying to go with it, trying to make Call of Duty more competitive and trying to make it a more balanced affair, but it's terrible. It really is terrible. It's horrible. I can't even explain it. So I've been playing Call of Duty for 12 years, and for the first probably 6 of that, when I was playing, I would, because this is before I had a smartphone, I would write down what my stats were at the end of every single prestige in a notebook, and then I would prestige, and then later, when I wasn't playing, I would compare the numbers and do, just simple addition, subtraction to figure out exactly how many kills, how many deaths I got, and in what sort of playtime and all kind of stuff. And I was very, 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 very diligent about doing that. I mean, to say I've done that probably 100 times plus is not an exaggeration, because I did it for every single prestige, every single game for at least 5 years. And it really clued me into just the details and the things about this game. And it really started with Black Ops 1 was where I really started to get a handle on it, because I did it all through Modern Warfare 2. And then, I did it toward the end of Modern Warfare 1. And then it did it through World at War because they had ridiculous stat tracking in that game. And then I did it through Modern Warfare 2. And then I did it through Black Ops 1. And Black Ops 1 was really like the second, you know, after it had been basically 2 full years of doing that. And then Black Ops 1 had such in-depth leaderboards that I was able to really bring it all together and learn all the different factors and all the different things that go into games and players and skill levels of players and all that kind of stuff. So I have a very in-depth knowledge of this. That's not bragging, that's just how I am. I like to overanalyze stuff, and through all those data, you know, so we're talking 10, 20, so we're talking, you know, 35 prestigious worth of data for myself. And then when I got to Black Ops 1, it was literally data for every single person on my friends list and every single person that I decided to look at on the leaderboards. And it just became just this thing of mine. And I still, to this day, don't know how many people actually know a lot of these things. But basically what they've done by introducing skill-based matchmaking is they've completely and fundamentally undermined the entire integrity of what Call of Duty is. On every level. So when you look at a person, when you look at a person's account and you see their kill-death ratio is an average of the amount of kills to the amount of deaths. That's the average over the life of this person's account, the life of your account. And what that is that is an average, okay? If that was just like 1 or 2 matches, obviously it could be much higher or much lower, but when you're talking about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of kills, because that's what it was for me. Hundreds of thousands of kills. I mean, I had 500,000, I had 500,000 kills between, you know, Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 3. And I had over 225,000 in Modern Warfare 3, which was, you know, good for, the overall score was good for the top 1,000 players overall. At least on Xbox, of course, but that was before anyone was really playing on, not that many people were playing it on PlayStation then anyway, although I guess maybe that's not true. But that was still a 360 era, so, you know, these things are fundamental to what the game is. So when you look at a kill-death ratio, see again, look at that, 3.20 with all the kills that I had, 32 and 10, and we only won by 9. So again, that was me affecting the game for a win. And the kill-death ratio is an average over the lifetime of your account. So if you're talking 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 kills, that's the average of the amount of kills that you get for every 1 death. And what that's based on is that's based on the average of all the random games that you play, because it's all based on random games. Sometimes you get really good players, sometimes you get really bad players, and overall, the average equals out to a number, and that's what your kill-death ratio is. So the problem with skill-based matchmaking is that's no longer the way it works, because the games are not random anymore. You're put into games with people who are in your similar skill bracket. Therefore, that means that everybody's kill-death ratio, except the very lowest bracket, is going to be high, is going to be lower, because every single person is now playing against much stiffer competition. So now I have a 1.55 kill-death ratio in this game. That means that every game I play, in theory, the average kill-death ratio should be 1.55. And, you know, that means that the guys who go 5 and 20 and the guys who go, you know, 4 and 18 and all that kind of stuff, that means they're not going to be in my games anymore, which means that I'm not going to be getting kills against those guys anymore. Now, you could say that's unfair to those people. Well, no, it's not. You know, do you know how many years of Call of Duty I played of getting absolutely just pile-drivered into the ground game after game after game before I got good enough to actually start to go even and then start to go above even? The entirety of Modern Warfare 1, 37 days of playtime. I mean, what is that? 24 times 37, that's, you know, that's 700 hours or something, 700 hours of time, and my kill-death ratio was 0.92 when I finished that game. That means I didn't even go positive that game. And then Black Ops 1, or sorry, Black Ops 1 World at War, my kill-death ratio ended up being 1.3 or something like that. So it took me, you know, probably 1,000 hours of playing before I was able to even go 1.0. And that was what the grind was. And then Modern Warfare 2, I was able to go, you know, I think it was 1.7 or something like that. And that was me camping with an RPD LMG machine gun. So by the 3rd game, okay, so now we're talking 37 days, and then we're talking 20-some days. So we're talking 60 days already. And then the 50 days that I had in Modern Warfare 2. So over 100 days of playtime, and I was able to get to, which is just 2,400 hours of playtime before I was able to go 1.75 kill-death ratio. So and that's because it's an average of the people you're competing against. It's reflected. Your average 1.75 kill death ratio, for example, is the reflection of how you play against the general public of Call of Duty. And so what the issue is that the kill death ratio and the win loss ratio now don't mean what they used to mean, and that is because you're playing against competition that's better. So as you get better, you play against competition that's better. Meaning that as your kill death climbs from 1.55 to 1.75 to 2.0, the caliber of players you're playing against goes up also. Which means that your kill death ratio takes infinitely longer to go from 1.55 to 1.75 to 2.0. It takes infinitely longer because as you're going up, you're constantly playing against better people. Therefore, they're going to do better against you. Therefore, you're not going to do as well in your games. And that's what's become the problem for pretty much everybody playing this game. All the content creators I've seen, because I've just recently started kind of paying attention to content creators and what they're saying about this game and all that kind of stuff. I recently just started having time to watch that stuff. And all of them are saying the same thing. The games are so sweaty. Every single game is so hard. And every person on every team that you play against is just going balls to the wall every single game, all game, every game. And that is really rough to play with, okay? Because after a little while of that, after 10, 15 games of that, 20 games of that, you just don't want to play anymore. And as someone that's, when you're playing and you want to see success, obviously you're playing because you want to do better. So as you play and you continue to improve, you feel like you should be doing better, but the skill-based matchmaking is counteracting your improvement. So previously you would play and as you played you would get better and then you'd start showing better scores, and it was like a feedback loop. Like you'd be happy and you'd smile and you'd be like, man, I can't believe I was doing so well, and then you'd do better and then you'd play better and you'd improve and you'd do better. That was how it went. Now what happens is you just constantly are getting basically the same scores, because even though you're improving skill-wise, it never actually manifests in your gameplay. Because having a 1.55 kill death ratio is not that great. It's acceptable, but when you're playing against people who are trying as hard as the people that I'm trying against, like what you're noticing right now is these players are not maxed. Like I would say half the games I play, everybody is a prestige, and 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 12 guys are maxed at 100. I mean, obviously that's not the max anymore, but for the last couple weeks, that's how it's been. 80% of everybody I play against is a max level prestige. So I'm playing against guys who play all the time, all day. And when you're playing against people like that, it's rough, man. It's rough because they're so good that it's like a 1-for-1, and it wears on you as you play, and it gets tiring to play because, like I said, skill-wise, you actually are improving. And that's proof by these games that I'm playing now, because when I first got this game, I wasn't even able to go positive, really. Like, I was like a 1.10 kill death ratio, barely positive. And then the season reset, and I don't know if they changed the aggression of the skill-based matchmaking, or maybe it's just that everybody kind of had like a soft reset, and they sort of recalibrated at the start of the season. That's possible too. But the first day I played, I was absolutely smashing everybody. Just completely smashing them. Like I said, you just saw the scores that I just got. You saw in those 2 team death matches. 25 plus kills, 3.0 kill death ratio on both of them, and we kind of barely won those, and 1,000 score per minute. So we're talking about ridiculous scores and just dominating those games. And that's what happens when you play that well. Is you impact the game in a way. It's essentially like LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. When they're on and they're having these games that are just ridiculous and they're scoring 40, 45, 50, 60 points, they're dominating the game, and they're the ones that are winning the game for everybody. So these are things that you don't see anymore. Like, you really don't see standout performances anymore by a lot of people, or especially yourself, because the skill-based matchmaking is counteracting that. As you get better, it's pairing you against better people. So it's just a problem. And like I said, some of you might not care. Some of you might not fully grasp what I'm saying. Some of you might think I'm overreacting. But skill-based matchmaking has fundamentally changed what Call of Duty was. Everything you knew about Call of Duty, if you played for more than a couple years, everything you knew about the game is not the same anymore. It's just not. The stats don't mean what they used to mean, and the stuff that you can do and that people can do against you are not what they used to be. And it's not a way of saying, like, oh, change is bad, like they shouldn't change it. It's just that what essentially is happening is you're punishing people who are playing better and grinding harder to get better. You're punishing those people by putting them in more and more punishing games, playing against people that are better and better and better. Because at some point in the highest bracket, you're playing with people who are like, there's legitimate pros in there, and there's legitimate people who play, who don't work and play these all day. And that's what you're competing against, because there's so few people up there. And then the other issue is something that I found from Drifter's video, talking about the skill-based matchmaking, which is he was talking about how it increases your ping to the game, your latency to the game. And that's probably only true because there are so many fewer players at the higher tiers that when you get to a certain tier, there's not as many feasible games for you to play in. So you end up playing against people that are further across the country, and you end up being more spread out. Call of Duty was always based off of ping, so when you searched, it would always search and give you the lowest ping games first, and that was how the games were set up. So, you did have some issues where people in more crowded areas like Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, New York, areas like that were getting higher quality competition because there were more people in that area, and people in smaller cities, in the Dakotas or, in Canada or places like that, they weren't playing it with as much competition. But the standard general group, and actually this was a phenomenal opportunity for Call of Duty because of crossplay that came out last year. Everybody plays together now. PC, PlayStation, Xbox all play together, and you have multiple generations, and you have multiple generations of the two consoles, and just any infinite number of combinations of PC playing against each other. So that was a phenomenal opportunity for them to really, for the matchmaking to be better and better, for you to find even better matches, even higher quality, lower ping matches because of how many people are playing. But with this skill-based matchmaking, they've essentially changed the game into something completely different. What they've done is they've made this an esports title for everybody, is what they've done. And a lot of people don't want that. I know you guys who play this game know that like a third or half the people that play this game are drunk or high or just like hanging out with friends, and they don't really care about their scores and about trying hard. And what you've done is you've taken the game and you've made it so that when you actually play and try at the game, the only people you're going to be playing against are people who are also trying and playing the game. And that leaves the game in this weird state where it doesn't feel casual anymore. It's not like a relaxing game to play anymore. You can't just come home from work and pop in. I mean, shows how old I am. You pop in the game and start playing and relax. You can't do that anymore. And I say that, funny enough, as someone who hasn't bought... The last game I owned on disc was Destiny. That was 2013, so I haven't owned a game on a disc in 7 years. Or I guess that might have been 2014, so I haven't owned a game on a disc in 6 years. 6 or 7 years, and I'm still saying that. But it's taken the game to this level of, like, everybody is trying so hard in every game you play. And that's if you try hard, and I am someone that does try hard, and I do like to actually get good scores and play. And I'm not as good as I once was. But funny enough, even in the 30 or so hours of playtime that I have on this game, although actually it's probably more than that, it's probably more like 50 hours or so, I have noticed I have been improving. Definitely have been improving. And it's one of those games where you improve by playing more, and that's part of why people play it. There's just kind of this fundamental non-understanding of their own game as far as Call of Duty is concerned, and that was really made apparent last year by taking away the prestiging. Clearly, they don't know why people who get to level 1,000, people who prestige and play for many, many days of playtime, those people play for the competition and for the improvement. They play for their own stats, and they play for the competition and the challenge of getting to an ultra-high level. And basically, they took that away from them last year because they just fundamentally don't understand what people want and are getting out of their game. So that was what I did for years and years with this game, is constant improvement. You play a lot, you constantly are improving, and you can see the fruits of those efforts. If you play 30 hours a week and you grind for weeks and weeks and weeks, you can steadily see your kill-death ratio start to climb over that time. Just climbing, and you fundamentally get better and improve. You're improving on your basics, you're improving on your aiming, you're improving on your game sense, you're improving on all those things as you play. And you can see that, and it's reflected in your gameplay. Skill-based matchmaking, it's not. Because what happens is, you play a game, 2 games, 3 games really well, and you have really high scores, and then you're right back to where you were before. So instead of grinding and then getting a payoff, and then grinding and then getting a payoff, and then grinding and getting a payoff constantly, like every week, every 2 weeks, every month, what you're getting is, see now my team right here, we were struggling and I knew we were going to get a loss, so I was just harping on, like, guys, get B, get B. And I got this gunship, and they did. You can see they're going to start to take B here in a second, and I'm going to protect them with the gunship, and we're going to get this. So now what happens is you just improve, and you never actually see the fruits of that because you're always playing against higher tier players, and it just makes the game frustrating. So you can still improve, and I've noticed that I've been improving, but it's not because of the scores and stuff like that. It's because of I can look at it and know. I know enough about this game, and I know enough about the stat tracking and stuff to be able to make a determination on whether or not I'm getting better or not. And then at the end there, I noticed, like, that's why we were losing, is because there was only 4 of us and everybody abandoned, and luckily we were able to win it. And again, me doing so well affected the outcome of the game, and we only won because of that gunship. Look at the score. So, hope this kind of enlightened you guys, opened your eyes a little bit to skill-based matchmaking. Hopefully you guys are playing the game and enjoying it and improving and doing well. And hope to see you guys out there. See you guys in the next one.